start Mandalay. And tonight, we're going to be discussing what it was like to live as a Jew from the year 1900 to the year 1950 in Israel, Palestine. Cheers, ladies. Our story begins in 1916 with British and Arab allies. The Arabs wanting their own independent state in Palestine and needing to seek Britain's approval to acquire the land necessary to create their own state.
So to live as a Jew in the first couple decades of the 20th century were very tense times. There was the Arab-Israeli conflict of 1916 to 1918, which was pretty much caused by the Faisal-Weizmann Agreement. And even though that gave free exercise of either religion, it still caused a lot of conflict between the Jewish people and the Arabic people trying to claim Palestine. And so, the Faisal-Weizmann Agreement also was trying to give the Jewish people their own state and the Arab people their own state, have them be both independent, but in the same location.
Pós-modernidade é tempo de discrepâncias incríveis entre a luta do homem para preservar a sua individualidade e as forças que buscam coagi-lo a buscar uma identidade coletiva. De um lado, você tem uma pessoa lutando pela sua individualidade, por se autodeterminar. Do outro lado, a incrível pulsão de estatizar todas as funções do indivíduo, desde a prática médica, da saúde, até mesmo a polis, a função política, nesse sentido estatizada, tirando do indivíduo essa função de autodeterminador de sua identidade e de catalisador de suas relações sociais. O seu poder é relegado a uma instituição maior que, estatizando esse poder, priva o indivíduo de seus verdadeiros poderes individuais. E assim, temos o grande conflito da nossa geração. Um homem lutando para ser homem numa sociedade que busca enclausurá-lo, que busca trancafiá-lo em estruturas feitas especificamente para controlar aquilo que elas deveriam proteger.
After much turmoil, the Brits finally decided to allow Jews to establish their own national home on the land by 1917.
Zionism began with one single purpose in mind, and that was to bring a scattered people group, the Jews, to one area. And so it actually started by this guy named Herzl in the late 1800s, and it was originally intended to be a political movement and not a religious affiliated movement at all. And so as a result of this, there were Jews in Palestine that saw Zionism as this beacon of hope for them, where the people could be united in one single location where they've been scattered for centuries. But there were some Palestinian Jews who were not okay with Zionism because it was secular in nature, and as you can imagine, this sort of created a tension in Palestine during this time among Jews that were living there and between Jews in the diaspora and in Palestine.
According to Rabbi Abraham Isaac Cook, the first major rabbinical figure to embrace Zionism, the diaspora Jews lost the light of God as they assimilated to different cultures throughout the world. But the land of Israel emanated a religious light from its very being and took away the exilic darkness. Cook believed the Jewish religion could be renewed here, as it had lost some of its strength abroad. He wished there would be a strong basis of halakha for law in the new state, but argued that even if there wasn't, it would be much better than European countries that essentially had no halakha at all.
Los países que están en la territoria they felt disconnected from the Jews from other parts of Europe who migrated back to Israel, Palestine, to fulfill the goals of Zionism. Many did not speak the same language. Although Zionism promoted a Jewish nationalism, the movement's presence in Israel, Palestine caused more tension for Jews who now felt they had to choose between their community and their religion.
At the end of World War I, tens of thousands of Jews from all over the world were living in Palestine with the hope that one day they would be an independent Jewish state. However, at first, they had neither institutional infrastructure nor organized leadership. At the dawn of World War II, this community of Jews, known as the Yishuv, would develop into a more sophisticated and autonomous society. The Yishuv would be considered a state-in-the-making settlement. However, this process was difficult, as conflict arose not only with the native Arabs, but also within the Jewish people themselves due to immense diversity.
So before Israel became a state in 1948, there were tons of Jews living in Palestine, and so this group of people was known as the Yishuv settlement, and before they developed independence as a state in Israel, their desire was to be an autonomous state, so to have autonomy in the sense of education and land settlement and even militant power. And so as a result of this, the people that immigrated to Palestine were expected to take up this new ideology where you left behind completely the culture of your past in the diaspora and adopted a new way of life in the Yishuv. And this new ideology consisted of a new Hebrew man, where men became more masculine and they engaged in agriculture and became one with the land and worked the land, and women had a larger role as well in this new ideology. So life looked a lot different for a Jew in Palestine during the Yishuv period than it did in the diaspora or even after the Yishuv settlement.
Trancafiá-lo em estruturas feitas especificamente para controlar aquilo que elas deveriam proteger.
Yeah, so Hebrew language was very important to maintain for them because they wanted to be unified. They wanted to have one Israeli nation and no one else to mix into that. It was a very multicultural time because they were, coming from different areas and yeah, so they wanted to maintain their Hebrew language. Another thing to know about that is that the Israelis and the Jewish people specifically in the Palestine-Israel area were more advanced than their Arab neighbors and also the Arab population in Israel-Palestine. And the cool thing was they had organized leadership, political systems, they had education systems, they had militant power. Their agricultural was just top-notch, and yeah, they were really advanced for their time.
Para la gente en Israel y en los países árabes, this time of peace would not last. The tension was always felt. The peak of this escalating tension, now decades old, manifested itself in the war for independence. This promoted Jewish men to organize military, resulting in the fighting between the Yishuv, Jews in Palestine, led by the Haganah, the Jewish paramilitary, and the Arabs of the Arab Higher Committee. Habla español otra vez, entonces.
Meu dia não poderia ter sido pior. Acordei, fui para o campus e qual não foi a minha surpresa? Um carro cruzou na minha frente e BUM! BUM! Eu bati no carro e caí no chão. Ah, meu Deus! Que dor! Que dor terrível! Meu joelho estava todo ralado. Oh meu Deus, que coisa terrível me aconteceu. Não bastasse isso, quando eu chego em casa, a cozinha está uma bagunça. Os pratos que deveriam estar aqui estão ali. E os talheres que deveriam estar guardados estão todos espalhados loucamente, como um frenesi de peças de metal voando por todos os lados. Meu Deus do céu, quem poderia viver numa casa como essas?
After the War of Independence was won by the Jews, the aftermath consisted still of a lot of conflict between these two people groups, and we still see this playing out today.
Before the War for Independence, there was little tension between Jews and Arabs who were living in countries outside of Israel because the Jews had assimilated into their host cultures. However, once the Jews had gained their own land with Israel's independence, tension grew in these neighboring countries. Arabs became hostile toward Jews, who they now felt had no reason to be in neighboring Arab lands.
Again, after the War of Independence in 1948, we saw a flood of Jews from all over the world immigrate into Palestine. And because of this immigration, the Jewish population in Palestine doubled and they became the majority, whereas before they were still the minority with the Arabs in the region.
O choque de culturas que eu sofri quando vim aqui para os Estados Unidos foi muito grande. Primeiro porque eu queria estender a mão e depois abraçar as pessoas, mas as pessoas só queriam estender a mão para mim. Tantas práticas culturais diferentes. Eu me lembro que no meu primeiro episódio eu tentei abraçar uma pessoa de uma cultura diferente e tinha todas essas pessoas ao meu redor e todas elas ficaram: como? Isso não é possível. Você não pode abraçar essa pessoa. Apenas estenda a mão e aperte a mão dela. O choque cultural foi muito terrível. As pessoas olhavam para mim com uma cara estranha e diziam assim: mas o que você está fazendo aqui? Como você pode se comportar desta maneira? Terrível foi este choque para mim.
Yeah, again, they came from everywhere. There were somewhere here. There's a little guy. Somewhere up here. Don't know where that is, but yeah. And somewhere even out here. So these Jews, they came from those faraway lands, and they went right there to Israel, Palestine. All of them. They came from Germany too, and from Poland, and from Russia. A lot from Russia. And they just came because they were migrating because they won the independence war, and now they had this new nation to go to.
Yeah, so once so many Jews had collided into one region in Israel, it really just required that the Jews that were living there adapt to a new way of life in Israel. There were so many cultures coming in that everybody really had to give a little in order for the nation of Israel to be unified as one people instead of just a bunch of different people groups living in one region.
1900 to 1950 was a tumultuous time for Jews in Israel-Palestine. Through conflict, peace, wartime, and eventual independence, the events observed in this period are not unlike the events seen throughout the entire story of Israel's epic history. It just goes to show that the cyclical nature of the Jewish experience can be interpreted in multiple ways. I guess it all depends on who you ask. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned a lot, I sure did. Good night.
So tell me about conclusions.
No podría creer que estaba tan grande.
Bum! Bum! Meu joelho estava todo ralado. Uma bagunça! Estão todos espalhados. Bum!
What? This way? This way. Is it better this way?
It looks good like that. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, as I was studying earlier,